All right, well, hello, Ryan.
Hello, Miss Courtney.
I'm really excited to chat. I know this has been a crazy weekend of lots of people asking lots of questions, so I'm glad that you can ask me some questions and I can ask you some questions.
That's what we're here for.
So I'll introduce myself and then please share who you are. But I'm Courtney Van Bussum. I'm the COO of Longevity Launch Labs, and we are a really longtime partner of nuBioAge and love your team, love hanging out with you guys. I've been at several shows here over the years together, and I think what's cool about our two companies is how aligned they are in our mission to collaborate with practitioners and really bring things forward for clinicians. So I know we have things we can talk about, but I wanted to really just pick your brain and you pick mine about how we collaboratively work with practitioners.
Yeah.
So what do you do at nuBioAge? Tell
Absolutely.
us that.
Yeah, name is Ryan Ball. I'm the practitioner experience lead for nuBioAge Wellness Network. So basically my role is I'm the first person that everyone meets when they come in, to give them a tour and a demo of all the resources that we offer and just provide a really warm welcome. And I think that Longevity Launch is the same, and we're organizations founded and built upon relationships, just building really personalized relationships with everyone that comes our way.
Yeah, and I think that's becoming more and more important, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in this crazy age of AI, even like being a relationship-forward institution in the era of the AI revolution of healthcare is going to be more and more important, I think.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about COM so far? We're wrapping up day 2 now. What's been your keynote?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great show because I really like how it attracts a certain type of attendee, a certain type of practitioner, of clinician. This group is definitely somebody who looks at medicine from a deeper lens, right? And so I love nerding out about cellular science and pathways, and sometimes I go to shows and I go to different places and people look at me like I have 3 eyes. But here I can talk about that stuff and people are really into it. So I like just hanging out in an environment that people are excited about the things that I'm excited about.
Yeah, because the target audience, there's no sort of overarching educational organization that is moderating what conversations we can have.
Right.
So it's very organic, and it's spearheading the industry and everything that we're teaching on and the newest interventions.
Exactly, but it's very science driven. You know, it's not just here to pitch products. I mean, obviously we have products that we're affiliated with, but we can talk about that. It's just that we believe in the science, and therefore the products kind of sell themselves. And at a show like this, we're really here to talk about the science. We're here to share protocols. The stage is constantly being taken up by people who know their stuff.
Yeah. What is the biggest challenge that you see practitioners new to the longevity space? What are those challenges that they're facing?
Practitioners are looking for a place to come, like you said, where it's relationship forward, it's organic, natural conversations about health and medicine, and it's really this science-backed approach. And so right now what I'm seeing out there in the world, and I'm sure you're probably seeing the same thing, is it is chaos.
Yeah.
And the industry has just ballooned, and now you have all of this noise and you have so many players that are jumping on the bandwagon. And so what I'm seeing practitioners struggle with is how to actually sift through that noise and figure out who to trust and what to trust and where to get education. And I think COM's a great place to do that. When I'm out in the industry, actually people are like, where do I go to learn this stuff? I'm like, go to COM. That's one of the shows that I trust, that I know you're going to get back to information.
Yeah.
So I'll spin that to you because you're seeing and talking to practitioners too. What do you think?
Yeah, you were just talking about the AI age, right? We're the digital age, and then the social media age, and then now anybody can be an expert in whatever field that they want to be with all these engines and whatnot. So yeah, it's just attention grabbing. It's the noise, and how do you sift through that noise is definitely something that the practitioners that I interact with, that is a big struggle. Because they receive all of the information, but it's how you actually apply it. And that's obviously the heart of this conference. COM stands for the clinical application of longevity medicine. Doctors know how to doctor, they know how to look at pathways, but when they actually come home, it's, what do you do with all of this information? And so that's definitely the heart of not only our conferences, but we have a lot of digital assets as well. And when you get into the clinic, how can you get your staff all up trained and seamlessly integrate these solutions in your practice?
Yeah, exactly. And I think at launch it's the same. We're trying to translate really complex cellular science into application for these practitioners that also helps you get to a point of trust with them,
Yeah.
where they're like, okay, I understand enough of the science, but you're also giving me something to do about it. It's not just stuck here in the science.
Yeah, specifically, how do you guys work that into Kinetic Pro, your ketone blend?
Yeah, I mean, so we have 3 flagship products: Kinetic Pro, and then 1-MNA, which we both are partnered on, and then our newest product, Aevum. And Kinetic Pro is a cellular product by default, right? Because it's a ketone product, and so I think ketones get this rep of a keto diet or being eating meats or fasting, and people forget what is a ketone and why does it matter. And so I think when you talk about how do I bring this into my conversations with practitioners, I always like to start at ketones are something our body's made forever. It's an alternative fuel source that's kept us alive for thousands of years in times of starvation. And so it has a lot of important properties. And those properties are primarily focused on cellular energy, cellular signaling, and really improving mitochondrial function. And then I say, okay, if we want to go down into the science deeper, we can, but how do you use it? Who do you use it with, right? And translating that to these different applications for maintenance and performance, or even all the way to neurodegeneration, Alzheimer's, that kind of thing. Yeah. You guys are in a similar boat, right? With a lot of your products, they're kind of complex. We are in that same world where we're having to educate on these cellular pathways, but also translate it to application. Yeah. What's your go-to? How do you typically frame it with your practitioners?
We're an organization founded by clinical pharmacists, so everything that we offer definitely has a heavy emphasis on pharmacokinetics, cell signaling pathways, and that's something that is understandable by all of our physicians, right? They're able to understand a pathway and conceptualize how these things are actually working to the benefit of their patient's treatment. But obviously, correlating that with clinical studies, a lot of our products are based or formulated based upon the results of clinical trials as well. So it's really easy to point at those metrics. Here's the data this study found, and here's the product that did it. So it's a really, really easy way to relay that information.
When the science is legitimate, it's kind of a much easier story to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. What should clinicians look for in a product or education partner before bringing them into their practice?
I mean, I think we kind of segued right into that. More than ever, there's so many products out there, and I think it's on us as both partners, but also the clinicians themselves to do the diligence. Yeah. And so what do they need to look for? Well, do you have studies, right? Do you have backed pharmacokinetics that makes sense? At the end of the day, and I talk about this a lot, I mean, I think the cell is really designed intelligently, and so if we just nudge the cell in the direction it was meant to go anyway, then it will do the thing it was supposed to. Yeah. So if you look at things from that level and you say A goes to B to C, well then if A is going to B and is going to D, then maybe something's wrong. So I think for practitioners, they just need to be educated enough on the foundations to be able to do diligence on their products and look for evidence-backed products that have research and scientific studies behind them or their ingredients. And sometimes we don't have the full funding to do these big peer-reviewed studies, but is there enough evidence on the pathway? Is there enough evidence on the ingredient to really understand what's happening at the cellular level? And then I think also, being transparent in the sourcing and the supply chain, now more than ever, we see the market flooded with Chinese knockoffs. And so being able to ask, hey, where do you get your ingredients from? Is it, a clean supply chain? And that's really important as well.
Absolutely. Tell me a bit about, so I'm very familiar with 1-MNA and Kinetic Pro. Your third product.
Yes, our new product.
Your newest product.
Yes, so it's called Aevum. Aevum, yeah, Aevum. That's the name of the brand. It's called Cell Restore Pro. Okay. And so that really is an immune system product. You'll hear more and more about it, but it came on a couple months ago. We've been working on it though for 2 years with our partners in New Zealand actually. And what it is it's this cool, I like to say it's colostrum on steroids. So basically we worked, because this group out of New Zealand has access to all the cleanest way, talk about supply chain, right? All the cleanest way, all the cleanest dairy products, really good botanicals and botanical extracts. With them, we brought together these 4 ingredients. So the first one is called Immunel, which is really the most potent part of colostrum if you stripped away the excess fats and lactose and you're just left with the bioactives. And we combine that with a kind of complementary extract of whey protein, which is all the immunoglobulins, the lactoferrin, the lactoperoxidase. Yeah. And essentially what that's meant to do is simulate exactly, this multifaceted synergistic compound, which has all these bioactives that you would get at birth, right? That's what the mother's milk has. That's what builds a baby's immune system. And colostrum has gotten really popular, but there's just a lot of like excess in colostrum, and you need to take way more of it than is probably good for you to actually get the amount of potent bioactives that we've extracted. And then we combine it with these two botanicals, rosemary, because it's anti-inflammatory, and then this cool thing called kawa kawa.
Yeah,
and
I've
so
heard
kawa
of it.
kawa, have you heard of it?
Yeah.
It's like a New Zealand leaf.
Yeah.
And so it's this antioxidant leaf that the Maori traditional people of New Zealand have used for a long time. So we take those to give the anti-inflammatory complement to the immuno-enhancing properties. And it's another cellular signaling pathway that has so many downstream effects, right? Immune system is good for your gut. It's good for your brain. Just like our other products, everything's trying to like peel back the layers to where can we fix things that are breaking at the root cause of the root cause.
Absolutely. Practitioners, they have all of these products that they could use. How do you build a model with that, or build a stack that helps better synergize different resources that you're using?
I think that's another thing that we're seeing more in the industry, and I'd be curious your thoughts of, there's a lot of like people just sort of randomly saying, oh, I heard this TikTok that I should do this thing, right?
And then they go and order it.
Yeah, they go order it, they throw it on, they get another thing, they get another TikTok. Yeah. So there's not a ton of like systems level thinking happening, especially as newer doctors or newer consumers come to the market. And so when I try to tell that story, I talk about, okay, let's look at the cell at these three different areas. Let's look at cellular structure, cellular energy, and cellular repair. And then we can build stacks that kind of complement into those three, right? First, let me make sure the structure of the cell is functional.
Yeah.
Then let me make sure the cell is producing enough energy, and then let me make sure that the cell is actually repairing itself. So I think when we talk to practitioners about where to build stacks and how to build ketones on top of 1-MNA for energy, but then add in an immune product for the cellular repair, right? And then you can avoid kind of just scatter shooting all over.
Yeah.
But what do you guys do? Because you have also these products that are super complementary, but it is hard to tell people, okay, this is the protocols, these are the stacks to think about.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is, everyone is on the weight loss drugs, trying to optimize for weight loss. Something that we teach on extensively is, well, first of all, it's not as simple as just looking at the scale. It's what is the quality of your weight that you're losing? Are you losing lean mass, or are you losing fat? Which is very, very important. So a lot of the nuBioAge formulations are formulated with that in mind to build some of those complementary systems on the back end, a foundation for further protocols. So that could be whether it's a GLP-1 and you're microdosing it, how can you make that lowest dose more effective with something like leucine, low-dose leucine, to help improve the energy expenditure. Right. Something with 1-MNA that we use 1-MNA from Longevity Launch, but we also have another nuBioAge product called apigenin.
Right.
So it's an inhibitor of CD38. When your NAD levels go up, so does the enzyme levels of CD38, which degrades NAD. Right. So utilizing those two different resources to not just exogenously introduce NAD into the system, but to look at the root of it. And 1-MNA works on the methyl groups, and then apigenin helps the NAD that you're producing not be just degraded. So definitely a lot of that in mind. But then also, one of our newest reformulations is with iCell water. That's going to be intercellular hydration with a bunch of aminos, creatine, glutamine, taurine, alanine, glycine. So it's my favorite.
Yeah,
it can be applied into so many different ways.
Well, that's a great one too. When I like that structure energy repair model, that's a structure thing, right? Like, where does iCell water really get in? It helps rebuild this nice hydrated structure of the cell so that those signals can go out. Like, if you think of this nice filled water balloon, it's going to have things go through it much faster than this like dry, crinkly one that you have to stretch apart. Yeah. I don't know. I kind
of. What are some of those foundational structures that maybe longevity looks into, that Dr. Yurth teaches on? Is it the structure, the cellular energy like you were talking about, or is there more to that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's really I believe, and this is a little bit of coming from the lens of the ketones, and I work in that space. It's 1-MNA as well. I do think cellular energy and cellular energy deficits are starting to kind of pop up as this like big underlying cause of so much distress, aging, disease, because it's all mitochondrial function at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so if our mitochondria aren't working well, then we're not going to be able to power repair. We're not going to be able to power our brains. We're not going to be able to keep our muscles and our heart and all these things working.
Yeah.
So I think looking at how do you produce energy at the most fundamental level, and those, all those things, the products that nuBioAge carries, our products, they all come into making sure that we're keeping the cell turned on so that it can power the rest of the system.
Yeah.
So what about, is anything else kind of new coming down the pipe for you guys at nuBio?
Not necessarily. We just spoke a lot about it extensively. Our speakers today is on spermidine.
Yeah.
So optimizing for cellular autophagy, and that can be implemented in so many different ways. It's, there's a big movement in the anti-cancer space for spermidine and autophagy. But we just had Dr. Gradzula talk about how he uses it for all sort of aesthetic protocols, skin, hair, nails, helps with the regeneration of that. But yeah, just an overall longevity supplement. That's definitely one of the newest ones that we're going to be teaching a lot more on.
Well, I think autophagy got really hot 3 years ago, and we're needing to bring it back because it's still hot. So
it's still hot. Same thing with the keto diet, using ketones.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's one thing someone should know about Longevity Launch Labs, what is that?
I think that at the end of the day, Longevity Launch Labs is here to bring science-backed products, services, technology to our practitioners that focus on improving the cell and doing it in a way that empowers our physicians.
Yeah.
And so that's one of our shared missions, is I think we're really here for empowering physicians with the knowledge, the tools, the resources to go out into this chaotic world of longevity medicine where there's all these charlatans and all these people playing on people's wallets, and actually bring the right information to the masses.
Yeah,
cool. Well, I think that was good. Thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah, of course.
I hope that was valuable content for everybody.
I think so.